There's quite a few challenges in Infinite Warfare that are bugged, and simply won't register no matter what you do. As such, I get lots of video requests for these, but there's two challenges in particular that many people assume are glitched, but in actuality, they just have very specific requirements. Those two challenges are Finders Keepers and the heavily requested Bandit challenge. Finders Keepers is to get 50 kills using a picked up weapon and can be found in the bootcamp category. The Bandit challenge is to kill 30 enemies with picked up epic weapons and is in the outfitter category. It took a lot of research, but I think I've finally concluded how to precisely do both of these challenges. They actually go hand in hand, which is why I'm combining both of them into this single video. I won't just go off speculation though. I'll be showing you specific points from my testing that prove exactly how these challenges operate. So first things first, in order to get both of these challenges to work, you have to do something specific. So listen very carefully here, as without this important detail, neither challenge will work. In order for these challenges to register, you must have a secondary weapon in your loadout. You absolutely must. Most people don't run secondaries and thus are having issues with these challenges. Throw a pistol or a launcher on your class to ensure credit is given. You have to have some weapon in reserve when you pick up a weapon for either of these challenges to count. If you're going for the Outfitter Master Calling card, you'll note that there's 4 challenges that require you to get 100 kills with sets of certain variant types. The Gunslinger, the Gun Saint, the Bullet Devil, and the Angel of Death, with their respective variants being Common, Rare, Legendary, and Epic. If you haven't completed those 4 challenges, you may as well go for them while doing the Finders Keepers and the Bandit challenges, since you'll then have a secondary in your class already. And by the way, all you have to do for those 4 challenges is equip 2 weapons of the necessary variant. So for example, the Angel of Death. Just equip an epic primary as well as an epic secondary. Or you can even use the overkill attachment and equip a second epic primary. You don't even need to get kills with both weapons. Just having a set of said weapons and getting all the kills with the primary works. Now before you click out of this video thinking that having a secondary is the key to success, it's not. There's more. The next key to these 2 challenges is how you obtain the picked up weapon. I have a feeling this also plays a huge factor in the lack of success some of you may be having. As you can clearly see here, I was at 44 out of 50 for the Finders Keepers challenge. In the very next game I played, I ensured that I had a primary and a secondary equipped, and I picked up the first weapon I came across, which was a Mauler. I proceed to get 1 kill and then shortly after get a second. After the second kill, I died. Now that was the only time I picked up a weapon the entire match. After the game ended, I went to check my progress and saw that I still remained at 44 out of 50, despite getting 2 kills with a picked up weapon. And this leads me to my next point. You must pick up the weapon off an enemy you yourself killed. You can't just pick up a random weapon off the ground. It has to be a weapon you yourself disarmed from an enemy. I should note that you don't have to pick it up immediately after you kill someone, but it has to be within the same life. For example, in this clip here, I kill this enemy and he drops a Mauler. Instead of picking it up right away, I take out another enemy first and then I pick up the Mauler. I proceeded to get a single kill with it and then I died. This registered towards the challenge. I also wanted to note that you don't have to swap to your secondary before you pick up a weapon. I've seen this mentioned a lot, but it doesn't matter if you replace your primary or your secondary weapon with whatever you pick up. I tested both methods and they both register. So you're better off just replacing whatever the weapon is you're currently holding. Now I'm sure some of you will still insist that you've done both these steps and it's not registering. Trust me, I was the same way. There were games where I knew for certain I got several kills, yet only a few registered. In fact, I have an example of such a game. So again, as you can see here, I was still at 44 out of 50 for the Finders Keepers challenge prior to the game I'm about to show you. If we jump into the match, I have both a primary and a secondary equipped. So I take out 2 enemies in a row. After killing the second guy, I hover over his corpse to see that he had the ERAD SMG. I clearly killed this guy and I made him drop the weapon. So I pick it up and I proceed to get just a single kill with it before dying. So that's 1 notch so far. If we fast forward in the match, you can see I clearly kill this guy and make him drop his gun, which turns out to be a Valk variant. After picking this one up, I head towards the enemy spawn where I encounter 3 enemies. I took all 3 of them out in a row and I push further into the enemy spawn. I then encounter and kill another enemy, leaving me with a mere 8 bullets left. My spider senses went off and alerted me of a 5th enemy rounding the corner, which I killed, leaving me 3 bullets left. Unfortunately, I died to the last guy. So that was 5 guys in total with my picked up weapon. In the last portion of the match, I was using my secondary weapon, which also proves that I did definitely have a primary and secondary during this match. I take out this guy camping his dick off in the corner and gank his HVR. I then proceed to get 1 kill before dying. And lastly, right before the match ended, I kill 1 more person and take his K-bar off his corpse and get yet another single kill before dying. So in total, that was 8 kills from picked up weapons. 1 from the ERAD, 5 from the Valk, 1 from the HVR, and 1 from the K-bar. Remember, I was at 44 out of 50 for this challenge prior to the match. Upon checking my progress, I was surprised to see I was only at 47. Only 3 of those kills counted. But how could this be? I personally killed all the guys I picked the weapons up from while having both a primary and a secondary on me when I picked the weapons up. As it turns out, the 5 kills from the Valk did not count. And the reason for this? I didn't pick up the right weapon. If we look at the kill feed when I killed this guy, his name is Baraza. If we look at the kill feed when I'm getting kills with this picked up weapon, you can also see his name pop up above mine. But just look at what weapon he's using. Clearly, that's not the Valk. As it turns out, upon reviewing the footage, you can clearly see the Valk was laying on the ground prior to me killing this guy. So while it did look like he pooped out the gun himself, he actually didn't. This is why the 5 kills from the Valk did not count. And this is more than likely what's happening to some of you. In the heat of the battle, you often can't tell who dropped what weapon. And on smaller maps, this is even more confusing as they're often clustered together. The fact of the matter is, you need to ensure you pick up the weapon of the person you killed. Now the good news is, all of these stipulations follow suit for the Bandit challenge. The bad news is, you shouldn't do these challenges at the same time, as more often than not, it will only register for the Finders Keepers challenge rather than both. And this is yet another issue you're likely having with these 2 challenges. You can see here that I was at 48 out of 50 for the Finders Keepers challenge. Upon checking the Bandit challenge, I was at 6 out of 10. During my next match, I saw someone kill me who was sporting an epic EBR variant, the Bomber. And that's what I highly advise you to do for the Bandit challenge. Watch all the kill cams for that orange indicator that shows they're using an epic weapon. Also keep an eye out for their gamer tag so that when you kill them, you know for sure that they should have that epic weapon. In this case, the guy's name was Stratty07. Just a few seconds later, I ran into him again and I killed him. Upon seeing his name in the kill feed, I ran to retrieve my reward. I then used active camo to hightail it to safety and regain my composure. But I immediately run into an enemy turning the corner who I then kill. And by the way, for Finders Keepers, you can play reckless. But for the Bandit challenge, epic weapons are a rarity, so when you do get one, play extremely cautious. So then I encounter 2 enemies which are no match for the Bomber. I'm instantly rewarded with the challenge complete for the Finders Keepers. I then managed to take out 1 more enemy before dying. So that was 4 kills in total with an epic variant. After the match, I checked my progress. I was only at 8 out of 10 for the Bandit challenge, despite getting 4 kills. The only logical explanation is that 2 of the 4 kills went to the Finders Keepers challenge, which was then completed, and then the other 2 went towards the Bandit challenge. But to complicate things even further, this isn't always the case. More often than not, yes, but not always. As you can see, prior to this match, I was at 47 out of 50 for the Finders Keepers challenge, and I was at 5 out of 10 for the Bandit. I got a kill on someone who had an epic KBS longbow, the Harbinger. After picking it up, I got a single kill with it before dying. So after the match, I went to check, and I was now at 48 out of 50 for the Finders Keepers, and 6 out of 10 for the Bandit, indicating that the single kill I got counted for both. So sometimes the challenge registers for both, and sometimes it doesn't. So to make sure you don't waste your time, the safest thing to do is complete the Finders Keepers first, and then the Bandit challenge. Again, for the Bandit challenge, simply ensure you have both a primary and a secondary weapon. Then, find an enemy who's sporting an epic weapon, kill them, make sure you pick up the correct weapon that they dropped, and then simply get kills. I've heard people say that you have to kill the owner of the weapon for them to register. That's simply not true. Any kills you make with the epic weapon you picked up will register for the challenge. The most I've got in a single game was 9 kills. The key is to play extremely cautious, as I mentioned before. With the Finders Keepers challenge, there's going to be weapons to pick up anytime you get a kill. But with the Bandit challenge, not everyone uses epic weapons. Sometimes I'd go several games in a row without seeing a single epic variant, which should be even further justification to play slow once you do pick one up. I realized this was probably a lot of information thrown at you all at once, so let me just sum everything up. First of all, regardless of which of the two challenges you're going for, you have to ensure you have both a primary and a secondary in your class for anything to count. Second, you can only pick up a weapon from a person you yourself have killed. Picking up a weapon off the ground randomly does not work. Third of all, trying to do both challenges at the same time more often than not will not register for the Bandit challenge, which means that if you pick up an epic weapon and get kills while you still have some left to achieve in the Finders Keepers challenge, you may not get credit for the Bandit one. Your best bet is to complete the Finders Keepers challenge first, which is much easier due to there being no weapon-specific requirements. When you do find enemies using epic variants, try to stalk your prey once you pinpoint who they are and what they look like. Make sure you can safely pick their epic weapon up and then play extremely cautious to make sure you get as many kills as possible. Don't feel bad lobby shopping to try and find enemies using these epic variants. I found that close quarters maps such as Genesis often had the most people using such weapons. There's no point remaining in a lobby game after game when there's no one using epic variants. So while these two challenges aren't exactly difficult to complete, you can see how people would be confused as to why things aren't registering. There's quite a few variables that need to be completed before progress can even be made. After completing both of these challenges, I'm sure everyone can agree, Finders Keepers, losers suck.